Okay, hello. All right, there we go. Hey everyone, just 1 second here. All right, let's see. Okay, 8:30 comes fast. Here we go. It's 8:30. Hello everyone. So we're in for another healing session. Sorry, I was just trying to sneak in something to you. Oh, here, there's my cat. He's laying in his little chair waiting for the session to start. But I'll be hiding him. He's behind me. There we go. All right. So I do a brief talk, not really a presentation today, but it kind of worked out good last week. We had a lot of questions come in. So I'm going to work on the questions again today that I got this week. And actually, they seem to be almost very similar this week because there's a lot of people going back to work, or we've come out of lockdown. And there's a lot of people living with some fear now. So we're going to talk about that. Before we start, I was going to let everyone know that I am recording this. So if you can just keep your cameras off, then your names don't show up in the recording or anything like that. So that would be great. Also, if you're new to this, because I know there's a lot of new people coming on, the way this works, it is a free call. I do 3 a month. There's not one next Monday, but there'll be the next one the following, the 28th of June. So I do 3 a month. And with every healing or any type of energy work you do, what happens is it's unique to you, because we're all very unique in what we're ready to release. It can be at an emotional level, a mental or a physical level, or all of them. So you might have physical pain, emotional sadness, all those things. Whatever's up for release, whatever is safe to release, will get released during the session. So even though we are in a group setting, your healing is very specific to you. And the reason this works by video is because we're dealing with we're dealing in the quantum field. So this energy doesn't know any time or space. So I have a lot of clients in Europe, in the States, and the neat thing is when we do Zoom calls, and sometimes we're not even on a call and I'm sending it to them at a certain time, they're getting it. And for some people that might be really hard to believe, and I was like you about 12 years ago. I have a very scientific brain. I did honors in biology, was, really into science. And when I fell into energy work, it was really challenging to understand, like, how does this work if it's not tangible? Like, you can't touch it, you can't prove it. But I asked way too many questions. So one of my mentors, Dr. Beatty, would say, you ask way too many questions. You need to learn to trust. And that was my biggest issue. But before I started working with public, I played with energy work with close friends and family for quite a few years, and some referrals, but it was just really a tight-knit group I play with. And a lot of my friends, or a lot of people I know, are very sensitive to energy. And it would be cool because I would be sending them a healing without them knowing. And they'll say, hey, Brenda, at 3 o'clock today, did you do something to me? Because I felt your energy doing something. And I said, yeah, I did. You know, I had a log of what I was doing and what people I would tell them. And then one of them would say, please don't do it without me knowing, because I was working on a client and I just wanted to like relax and just enjoy the energy being sent to me. But I only did it without her knowing because I wanted to test it. And then I had other energy workers work on me. And at first, many of you might recall me saying this, I was not sensitive to energy. I couldn't feel it. I was one of those people who said, I'm attending these things, I'm getting work done, but I don't see things, I don't feel anything. I was very numb, and I had a lot of resistance. But over time, as resistance peels away, you start to really, some people really feel it. Whether you're feeling this session or not, and we'll get to the healing part just a little later on, which is about a 25-minute healing session. But during the talk, even, the energies are already flowing. So you might already feel some tingling or some relaxation happening. And that's just because we're kind of already in the flow of things. So as we peel away layers of resistance, and we can call it dense energy, negative energy, whatever you want to call it, we all have, all humanity has dark energy in us and light. And what the ratio is, it really depends on where we're at. When we're working with energy work, what we're doing is we're peeling away the heavy energy and replacing it with love energy. So, when we're doing that, we have to do it in very safe and systematic steps. So I cannot force anything to come out of your field. The way this works is it's actually, we're tapping into universal intelligence. And this universal intelligence knows everyone specifically. We all have something called the soul signature. So it knows what you need. It knows where you are in your soul's journey. So your higher self taps into the healing space when I say I create, it's not me creating it. I tap into a beautiful energy of intelligent love and light. And so I am the vehicle who can create that healing space. But all of you are the vessels that are taking that and using it to what is best for your highest good. Now, mentally, you're not really doing this. You're mentally here. You're giving permission by being here. So those that are on the call and are here actually can have a more significant healing than if I sent this to someone, this energy to someone who doesn't know. And I'll explain that a little bit. So when we're here in this forum, you're here for a healing. So your higher self knows you're here. And when we start to go on our healing journey, our inner being, our higher self, our soul gets very excited. So they'll put you kind of on a path to start shedding all the traumas, experiences, darker, negative energies, and you're starting to fill with more light. You become more connected, more inspired, more creative, all that good stuff. But when you take that step into your own healing, magical things happen, which is really quite beautiful. But when we do this healing, and we'll send out the healing, and all of you are going to get it. Your higher selves are going to take what you're needing with your mental permission. If you want to have a bigger release, I can't force it, but you can ask. You can ask whoever you believe in. Now you can ask angels, light beings, the universe, God, the creative source, the all-in-the-one. All that is the same energy that we're tapping into. So the names don't really matter. So whatever you believe in it is what is going to come and do, because it's the same energy. So you can put in a request saying, I'm ready for a big release. I can handle it. But the thing is, I say that with a little bit of caution, because when we ask for a bigger jump, sometimes with that jump, we can have a little bit of uncomfortable feelings. Meaning you might spend the night burping because the healing still continues, or you might have a restless sleep as your subconscious is clearing away. I have gone through a lot, over 12 years of doing big shifts, big healings. I continue to do so. I don't get super profound shifts anymore, but I recently had yet another one. They don't come as often anymore. But when I started my healing journey, I was praying to God saying, listen, I don't know what's going on in my life, but I'm a mess and I really need help. And then I found energy work. And because I was asking, when you ask, you receive. So I didn't fall into energy work through me. I was my guides, my higher self, my angels knew that I would have never taken care of myself first. So they had me get my son into energy work for a reason he needed. And I saw it work miracles on him. I'm like, what is that? And then I started to inquire. And then I said, oh, I can benefit from this. And that's how my healing journey happened. Now, some of us aren't as stubborn as me. Thankfully, you don't want to be as stubborn as me because it's really not a good thing to be this stubborn. But I was able to fall into that through the way that I would allow that window to open. So some of us, it's easier and they hear about it and they want to try it. But I had a lot of resistance to feeling better. So now, so as we're doing the healing, you're going to get what you want. We also will send it to anyone in your house, any pets in your house, and a house clearing at the same time. Now, anyone that's not attending, say your pets are, and I have my cat here, like he knows he came down because he's ready. So he's kind of given his permission already. But there are some other people in my house that know the call's coming on, but like, Mom, I'm busy. But I'm just going to send out the energy to them. It's up to their higher self to take it. So a lot of people will say, oh, my daughter was doing dishes during your call, but she felt so relaxed. Well, her higher self was given that energy and it was either going to use it or not. So we can never force a healing, never. Nothing can ever be forced against your higher self's will. So we make it available. Now, someone wrote a question here and they want to know, how do you know if you're feeling the energy? Well, it's very different for everyone. So we're very unique, but sometimes you might get a tingling feeling, like that when your hand falls asleep and it tingles. That can be like, and it might just be in your knees, or it might be on your arm, or it might be the top of your head. So you get kind of like a tingling. Some people feel chills go up and down. Some people's arms, the hairs on their arms will go up. Some people feel heat. Some people feel cold than heat. There are some people who are very sensitive that actually feel hands on their body moving around. That's usually pretty neat. Some people see colors. Some people will hear buzzing in their right or left ear. Some people will feel head pressure. So there's no right or wrong on how you're feeling it. Some people will just feel very relaxed. So it's funny because my mother, she may or may not be on this call, but sometimes she doesn't come on the calls, but she is become so sensitive with the energy when I send it out that she just says she gets into this calmness. It's like she has a warm hug of somebody's hugging her and she feels so secure. She just goes into a nice relaxation. It feels like she's being wrapped up in a warm blanket. Another person was telling me when they get it done and they close their eyes, they have this waving gold blanket come towards them and it wraps them up in this gold blanket and they just tingle everywhere. So we're all very different and there's no right or wrong on how you feel. You'll probably feel very thirsty afterwards and maybe even before. So I would usually say drink some water before we begin because the water is used as a conduit or a conductor. So the energy uses the water to move around so you can feel very thirsty. So I have 2 glasses of water beside me because I will most likely need it for today. What else was I going to say? I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions here. I'm just going to mute everyone because I just hear someone. I'm just going to mute everyone here. Okay, perfect. So if there's any other questions, feel free to put them on there. I can actually go back to the questions after the healing itself. So there's been a lot of changes happening right now with the energy. So there was like the flower moon, then we had, what was it? The lunar eclipse. Something's apparently happening on June 16th, which is not a bad thing. These are all good things. Lots of energies coming on to the planet. And the neat thing is we're all very similar because we're all human and we all can accept this energy that's coming to purge us, to purge away the heaviness and help us heal. But our souls are all very unique. So each of us are going to take that energy and use it the way we need to use it. So it's such a beautiful thing because when people come to me and they say, well, this is how I want to feel, this is what I want, I can't force anything, and I would never force anything. What I am, the reason or the way I work is I tap into this beautiful love and light, and I hand over the healing to this higher intelligence, because this higher intelligence knows so much more about you than I'll ever know. So even if I can feel things about you, we're so multidimensional, we're so complicated. We have past lives, we have karma, we have all this stuff affecting our being. We have our soul purpose. So when that energy comes through and it's working directly with you, you're going to release so much more than if I were to intervene and say, oh no, I want this removed from this person. This, it's only like I would get like this much out, whereas you're getting a huge amount that's almost inconceivable. So when I'm working on a client, like one-on-one, as things are releasing and I'm just allowing things to happen, I get so much information, but I can't even make sense of it because my brain cannot comprehend what's happening. So I trust and I always know it's always safe because it's always beneficial, because it's being directed by loving beings, your higher self, working together to release whatever is safe and ready to go. Now, if we have a big trauma and we're dealing with things that we know of. Some of us have traumas we don't know about because we repress them so deeply. But say there's a trauma that we know about. Well, that trauma generally does not come out in one session. What happens is it's in our field and it's big. So with every session, a piece of it will come out, percentages of it come out. Eventually it gets small enough and then the root leaves. And sometimes we do have these events where the whole thing leaves. But again, we never know when you're ready, when we're not forcing it out, when it's going to come out. So you just kind of go in with the intention that I want to feel better. I'm ready to feel better. I want to feel more peace, more calmness. I want to have abundance and love in my life. I want to feel deserving. One of the biggest issues with anyone I see, including myself, is a deserving issue. Do I deserve? Do I have enough self-love? Do I deserve to be happy? Do I deserve? And sometimes it hides way in the background in subconscious thoughts we don't even know are there. So it's really neat. So I kind of got sidetracked, but I do want to just touch base with what's going on now. And there's kind of a positive momentum happening. And I could be wrong. I'm not a fortune teller or anything like that. I kind of see things, but I always don't make sense of it. But I always felt in summer there'd be a lightening up of things where we're going to be like getting back into socializing in person. And we kind of see that happening. And someone brought in a really cool, it happened at a workplace. So what happened was they were on a Zoom call and someone had a hockey game behind them. And in the hockey stands in Canada, the stands were empty. But then they flipped to the States. There's two games going. They flipped on to a game where in the United States, and the stands were completely full. And apparently everyone on the call said, oh my God, those people are together. And then they all started talking about, oh my gosh, when we're going to go work, that can be so scary. We haven't really been in person for so long. The States is a kind of ahead of us. I'm not sure if all states are, but from the people I know in the States, they are socializing again, and they're a little less restricted than we are. We're starting that, right? But think of it, we have been in our houses, in isolation, in lockdown for a very long time here in Ontario. So a lot of people may have not feel comfortable going out again. Now, I'm talking, when I talk about people not wanting to go out, there are people I know that have not been vaccinated, are not actually scared of getting COVID, and they say they have hesitation to go out in a group. And they're asking, why would that be? Like, if I'm not that scared of anything, why am I even thinking like, I don't want to be in that stand with all those people? Well, if we just need to be kind to ourselves, whether we are more fearful, not fearful. First of all, we all have our own perceptions, our own filters, and our own way of feelings. So no one should judge us how we feel because we're all so different. Another thing, we have to be kind to ourselves. We have been isolated, some of us more than others, for a very long time. And with that, we've been bombarded with so much information that's come into our field. So we can set an intention today to say, hey, I want to feel safe going out again, but I truly want to be safe. So you can ask to have all that. I'm not going to call it programming, but anytime you hear something, it stays in your field. So it's kind of in the background playing a program in such a way, but it's not a deep program because we're not under the age of 7. These children who are under the age of 7, bombarded with COVID and fear and things, those children, unfortunately, are going to have, I'm not going to say they can't get out of it, but it kind of goes deeper into their subconscious because their brain waves are in a different state. They're actually like in a CD-ROM state where they're just bringing in information. And then at age 12, there's another switch. So usually anyone over 13 during on this is going to be affected more like an adult. And adults are being affected. So there are people who used to be very sociable beforehand and now are not feeling comfortable even going back to work. So this is kind of becoming a big issue even in the workplace, sending your kids back to school. A lot of us are getting emails. Do you want your kids to go back to school or stay online? And some parents are choosing online school. And that's because there's a fear. Say if I send my child to school and it's the wrong thing. Say if this happens, say if that happens, it's that worry. But it's not necessarily their worry. It's the worry that's been placed on them is in their field. There's also a human collective consciousness that we all share. So that anxiety and worry is in the air, we're all kind of feeling it. So in those cases, just be kind to yourself and work through your fear. And then really sit with it and say, okay, where do I feel the fear? Like if you, people ask for tips and tricks all the time. So there's EFT or tapping, which I've talked about in the past, and I've sent out some information on it. There's Ho'oponopono works. There is a lot of self-talk and affirmations. There, you could actually use another one that I have people where you sit quietly and let's say, okay, I'm thinking about, okay, I have to go back to the office now. And like you can sometimes you can feel in your body where it feels uncomfortable. You might feel like your solar plexus area is heavy, or your heart feels sad, or you're feeling something uncomfortable, a tension in your shoulders, let's say. When you kind of just relax, you may need some practice doing this. But if you really connect and say, okay, I'm feeling fear, but why am I feeling fear? And then try to feel it in your body, then you can ask your angels, the guides, the light, beings of light to come in and melt away the fear and replace it with love and light. And I would use affirmations like, every day I'm going to get more used to going out. I am safe. I know I'm safe. We're also protected by beings of light. If we say yes to the light and give it permission to help us, and we're saying, yes, come in and help me every day, we're going to be protected. But a lot of us don't understand we can do that. And a lot of people don't understand it works. So it's almost like you try it, see how you feel. You try it again, see how you feel. You're building up a belief system that when I ask for a protection bubble, let's say, it happens. Like many of you know, when I first started protection bubbles last March on myself, I never really used to do them. And I was just in my head asking, okay, I want to try this protection bubble. And Archangel Michael, create a protection bubble around me. I make it bulletproof. I want to feel safe, love, white light. Anyway, I did that. And I was asking, I'm always asking stuff. All of a sudden, my daughter, who's in the room, I had a protection bubble on me and her. She saw the bubble be created. She said, Mom, why don't we both have bubbles around us? So I was like, okay, I can feel the bubble. I couldn't see it. So it was so cool that she could see it. Then I said, okay, this is really neat. So I closed my eye. Well, I closed my eye. I was just talking in my head. And I asked for her bubble to have a rainbow of colors around it. I didn't tell her. And then she's like, wow, my bubble has a rainbow now. So it was really neat because she's really cool the way she can see things and stuff. It's so natural for her. She doesn't think it's anything. But I was like, wow, sometimes they give me the confirmation through her that the work I'm doing is working. I know it works. I have full belief and trust in knowing it works. I've been playing with it for 12 years. I see miracles happen. I know it works. But back in the day when I first started with this, I didn't always trust it. I second guessed it. Is it really working? Why? Okay, maybe I'm feeling better because of this. also, when you start healing journeys, you can feel great and then you can go down, feel great, go down. So you're kind of doing this because as a layer releases, the next layer for release bubbles up. And it's an uncomfortable feeling. You can feel frustrated, angry, crying, sad, whatever. And then it releases and you feel great. So it's kind of like, oh, I feel great, then I feel bad. I feel great, I feel bad. But we're all different. Some people, I want to say the lucky ones, always just feel good. So some people are like that. I wasn't one of those. I was one that was going up and down, up and down. Now, for me, looking back, it was a blessing what was happening because I was purging that dense energy. I was purging my traumas, purging the experiences I didn't need anymore, the old belief systems I didn't need anymore. And over time, it was a gradual shift, but over every 2 months, I felt better. Sometimes after a session, I would feel better. Sometimes it took a few sessions for me to actually feel a shift, but I always just kept going on, building, building, building. But that's just because I have this stubbornness to feel better. So I know what I want to feel like, and I'm going to get there. So I just continuously work on getting better. So I haven't really stopped. Some of my friends make fun of me, but I'm feeling really like I had another big shift recently. So something that was like locked away, finally we got rid of it. And I was like, wow, if I finally released enough of the layers to get rid of something that was, I could feel it there for a few years and it released. But am I done? Personally, I'll never be done. I'll just keep working on myself because it feels so good. But for some of us, I see clients that come, get 1, 2 sessions, and they're fabulous. And then others, it takes longer. So I understand the ones that take longer because I was there. And I know it's 12 years for me. It doesn't have to be 12 years because the energies of the universe are moving and propelling us forward so fast. So what I did in 12 years may take someone a much shorter amount of time. But again, we're all personal. We all have our personal journey. We're all unique. So your journey is your journey. All right. Okay. So it's already 9 o'clock. Wait, I started. Okay. For a second, I thought we went right from 8 to 9. Like I talked all that time. Okay. No, it's 9 till 9:30. Okay. We're good. So we're going to start the healing part now, which is always the fun part too. So what happens is I'm going to tap in and the energy is going to come in really strong. I can feel it. It's intensifying every day. So this energy is going to be delivered to you, your families, anyone in your home, your pets. Your home will be cleared. You also have the ability to set an intention to ask this energy to go to visit like a friend of yours in another town or even in another country. Just say, you know what, I would like this energy to go and be available to this person. Again, we can't force them to use it, but their higher self most likely will use it to some extent. And they'll feel better and they don't know why. And that's great. It's like sending a prayer. So we're just sending love and light to as many people as we can. Generally during this, I will also send out love and light to our leaders so they can start making decisions out of fear. Also, just send out to the general public because that fear that's in our, so why don't we start pulling that away so they can see that we're safe and we're loved and our positive thoughts bring positive outcomes. Fear thoughts can bring more fearful things. So we want to kind of get ourselves out of the fear and have positive thoughts. But when we're in fear, it's hard to do that. So then you just take baby steps. Tomorrow, I'm going to feel better. Tomorrow, I'm going to feel more confident. Tomorrow, I'm going to go out and smile at more people. It's just little things, but then that will build, that momentum will build and build and build. For those who are like, I'm going out and that's it, then just say, I'm going out, I'm going to have a fantastic day, and I know I'm safe and I am surrounded by loving beings. We are now in a place like this earth is just oozing with positivity. We're not totally seeing it yet because the momentum of it is very strong. It's much stronger than the dark on the planet, but there's so much dense dark energy on the planet. It still needs to purge. So it has to come out in stages as well from the earth itself, from our human consciousness, and then from us individually. So as we're healing, the earth is healing. As earth is healing, we're healing. So we're all kind of working on this together. And we have so much support and love coming from non-physical like light beings, they're pushing us forward. And it can be very uncomfortable. So just take the baby steps you need and don't worry what anyone thinks. I stopped worrying what people think a long time ago, but every day I worry less and less. So you know what? The only person you really have to account for is yourself. So take care of yourself and keep moving in a positive direction if you can. Okay, so as I was saying, so the light's going to come through. You can either close your eyes, keep them open. I prefer to close my eyes. You'll probably have more senses if you're closing your eyes. Drink some water maybe beforehand. Lay down, sit down. There's nothing, no right or wrong, to be quite honest. I'm going to play music. If you like my music, great. If you don't like it, mute it. It doesn't matter. You don't even need the music on. You don't have to see me. If you open up your eyes and I'm waving my arms, that's just because I'm inspired to do so. So if it looks weird, just close the screen down. All right, so there's, like I said, there's no right and wrong as you're getting it. It's going to be about 25 minutes of the energy flowing through. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer because it doesn't want to stop. So when it kind of trickles down, I know it's done. And then I will talk a little bit. But after that, before I start talking, I use a singing bowl, which just kind of pushes out the last bit of negative energy out of our fields, out of the homes. So we feel a lot lighter and more grounded. At that point, you can just hang up the call and go to sleep because it's going to be like 9:30. If you want, I'll stay on and answer any questions or chat a little bit, and then we'll just end the call. All right. So here we go. And just remember, there's no call next week, but the 28th, there'll be one. Okay, but I'll send out a reminder. All right, so I'm going to put the music on. And I'm going to share my music directly from the screen. So it is going to be a little bit louder. And just give me a thumbs up once I say it's done. Give me a second. I'm just going to do a shuffle. Let the music come on as... Okay, I'm going to now share the music. Okay, so now I'm sharing, so just tell me how it sounds going now. relax here. I'm just gonna. Okay. So for those of you that want to just stay in that Zen moment, it's about 9:30. Feel free to just hang up. I'll just give a few minutes here for those who want to go. Just relax. Just gonna drink some water. Okay, may have a good sleep. Drink lots of water. You're all very welcome. My pleasure. Whew, that was intense. Very nice session. What I've learned lately is because I've been doing so much work on myself, a lot of the intensity that's been happening is not just the universal intensity. It's I'm able to bring in more because my whole body's vibrating at such a high level lately. Wow. Actually, the sessions I've been doing have been so strong that I'm getting accustomed to the new energy because it's a lot. It's every time I take a step up, my 3D body has to catch up along with it. So very interesting. You're all very welcome. If anyone has any questions, I can answer. I'm just in a relaxed state right now. I'm just going to give a few minutes, see if there's a direct question. If not, I may ramble on for a bit, but what does it mean to be itchy? Itchy is irritation. Well, it's like some people, when they even lay on my table, get very uncomfortable. Like they've ants crawling all over them. A burning sensation, an itchy feeling. That's the dense energy leaving. And it's as it's leaving, it's causing the irritation. It's not a bad thing. I know some people when I say it like that, they kind of like, ew, like that's kind of gross. Like, what do you mean? For those of you who might feel irritated at the beginning of these sessions, that's because the dense energy in our field, and this again is my perspective from my own healing over the many years. We have light in us, and the light is very intelligent. It can talk to us. It makes it feel good. But the dark energy within us can also do the same. So it's kind of this internal fight between light and dark. And as we're going for a healing, your higher self is going through the many layers to see what's ready to pull out. That dense energy that's leaving, I'm going to say the way I understand it was it can talk to me. It has some type of consciousness. It can talk. Like it has a, and it doesn't want to leave. So as it's leaving, it's kind of can give a incredible uncomfortable feeling. Like you can feel unsettled, itchy, like your ants burning, and then the light comes through. Um, so someone feels like they're feeling itchy and neural twitchy. Okay, so there's a lot happening on the planet right now. So not only are you doing healings, you might be doing other things, but you're also getting bombarded with this really intense light that's come onto the planet to help humanity purge the darkness. And as you start healing, you can become very itchy. And the reason I know that feeling is I used to have tremendous amounts of rashes and they were extremely itchy. And sometimes after a healing, and if it was an intense healing, I would get like a huge rash. Like it was very uncomfortable sometimes. And that's part of the purging process for some people. Hopefully not everyone has to go through that because it's very uncomfortable. So some people allow so all those that you're feeling, the itchiness, the twitching, it's how your body's reacting to the shifting of releasing the dark and allowing the light. So some people report having diarrhea, burping, vomiting, rashes, itching, all those things. Unfortunately, I suffered with all of that. It was horrible. But back then, I didn't know what was going on. In hindsight, now I realize what was going on. As I was getting healed, I was letting things go. Very uncomfortable feelings before I would go for a session because that dark, dense energy was in my face ready for release. So some people will actually say when they're coming to my house that they couldn't even find my house. They went to like at my street and they went to a different street but went to 171 on the other person, like this isn't that house. So a lot of people can come confused, and that's just the dense energy causing confusion, so they don't come. It's really interesting, but everyone's experience can be very unique. There's no right or wrong, and sometimes it's more uncomfortable for others. Do we close and feel less? Well, actually, it's not that okay, so someone's asking, is it possible to be really open to the energy at times and then closed and feel less? Well, from my experience, what almost happens is when you get to a new level. So, okay, you do energy healing and you feel like all this like tingling and things like that. And now you move up because you allowed so much, and now your 3D body catches up. Well, that kind of becomes your new normal. So now when you move up again, you may not feel the same intensity because that's kind of your new baseline. So it can change, but you're actually probably more sensitive, but it's become such a normal feeling of that energy around you that you've become accustomed to it. So sometimes it might take another 1 or 2, 3 healings to get into a new level of sensitivity. So it's not like you're more closed. I wouldn't say that. It's more that you just become accustomed to it. So those senses are opening up. Now you're becoming not numb to it. It's just like when there's a noise in the background and then you don't hear the noise anymore because your body's just used to that level of intensity of energy. So sometimes it needs a level up, but it doesn't matter whether you're feeling it or not, it's still working. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. And another thing too is sometimes we might not even be, okay, I have another answer for that one. Sometimes you might not be in the mindset to be relaxed enough to feel it. So that's the other answer here. But in that, it doesn't mean you're not getting the healing. So there's 2 ways. You could just be used to it, so it's not really affecting you, as like you don't feel it, the tingling and stuff as much. Or maybe you're not closed, your higher self is still accepting it, but your mind is not sensing it because you might be thinking about other things. So your higher self is doing the work anyway. Your mind can be somewhere else and it's still allowing. And some people drift off and they go into like a meditative state and feel nothing. I do that a lot too. And then I think, oh, did I even get the healing? But you're definitely getting the healing. Sometimes the light energy will actually put you to sleep or in a meditative state so you get out of the way. So you don't remember it as vivid as you did another time. And that's normal as well. And it depends on, sometimes when I do a meditation, I find it, wow, that was really intense. What happens is I get knocked out and I'm not sleeping. I just in this meditative state, I couldn't even tell you what words they said because I was kind of drifting in this weird place. But if I do the meditation, the exact same one a few times, what happens is I'm able to be more conscious because my body's leveling out to that new energy. So you start to increase to it. So there's no right or wrong, whether you feel it or not, still working. It's just working at a different level. You may not be aware of it in your physical senses. Okay, let's see. You're all very welcome. That was a really nice session. I'm actually still spinning from that one, but I had a really nice shift lately too. So I was like, wow. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this stuff, you still get good shifts. They're really quite nice when they come along. So I think as we all start to move through this new energy and as things are happening, a lot of you are going to start feeling much more connected, feel much calmer in your inner being, feeling safer. Just call on that light to come in and melt any fears or darkness. And I guess the main thing right now as we start to go back into socialization is just be kind and respectful of everyone around us because we don't know where they're at. We don't know if they're still in fear or they're not in fear. We don't know if they lost someone due to COVID. We don't know what their journey is. We don't know their past lives. We don't know, we're not in their shoes. So, you know what? I think we need to be respectful when we approach people because some people might like not take offense if they jump back. Or another thing that keeps popping up is we don't ask people what their salary and what they make. We don't ask people who they voted for. We don't ask their outright of what their sexual preference is. So personally, and I'm not saying I would be kind of like if someone asked me, was I vaccinated or not? That to me is a personal choice that I don't think I have to answer for anyone. So I think we all need to be a little mindful of the questions we might ask people. And that's kind of like, do we have the right to ask that question? Is it anyone's business? So we're kind of into new territory. Or do you send your kids to school? That's another sensitive topic for some people because are they being judged for doing it or not doing it? Being vaccinated or not being vaccinated? And then all those questions and all those assumptions or things can actually cause judgment and actually polarize people. And right now, we're all in this together as humanity. We want to unite. So we need to accept each other with non-judgment, open heart and kindness, and know everyone's decision is right for them. We're not them. We shouldn't tell them what they should feel because we'll never know how someone should feel. So I guess that's kind of the words as we kind of move forward into socializing. Do what you're comfortable with and then be respectful of somebody else's wishes. Okay, well, I think I'm going to call it quits. There's no new questions and it's been a long day. I think I've been going since 8 a.m. this morning. So I think I'm going to go just like chill. I'll send out the replay of this. I'm trying to just send them out with the links. So if you attended, actually what I'm doing is even if you don't attend, anyone who registers is going to get the link if they want to replay it. The neat thing with the replay, and you can always try this, is even if you're just doing the energy works segment, you'll feel the energy again and you'll get another treatment because the energy knows no time or space. So it can be replayed and used. I sometimes replay other healers and I get the same beautiful effect afterwards. So it does work. It's really quite neat. Okay, everyone, well, have a really good night, everyone. Sleep well, drink lots of water. And for those of you who kind of get a little more bothered during the night after these healings, that's okay. That's unique to your healing. So just be kind to yourself. Wow, this is really keeping me awake. It must have been a really good one. You get